Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Doing Business in Bentonville. My name is Andy Wilson, and I'm so glad that you are joining us again. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for your wonderful support on all your viewership and listening, and we have so much coming in the future, so stay with us. But this morning, I want to welcome my guest, Michael Lebhar. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I should say welcome back. Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah.
It's so good to see you.
Thanks.
How you been?
I've been good. Staying busy.
Good.
Spending my time here well. I always love being here.
Yeah.
I always say it's like a workcation because
yeah,
there's a lot of work to do here, but it's all a little more relaxed and nice, and
we're definitely more relaxed in LA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, good. Well, I'll tell you, we're so glad to have Michael back. He's got such a great company. We're going to talk about that company today and their services and all the stuff they do. And the thing about Michael coming back, Michael, your business is always revolving. And but let's talk about SellCord for a minute because it's such a great company. And one of the things that, Michael, that you do, and I want you to talk and remind all of our viewers and listeners the things your company does, but it's such a full-service agency for Walmart suppliers. I mean, you really offer a wide range of services. So talk about your company. Tell everyone again, remind them what you do, and then we'll get into our topic and things for today.
Awesome. I always love this part, talking about our company. So, we're SellCord. We're a Walmart agency. We exclusively focus on Walmart.com. And we have two main segments. We work a lot on the 1P side and then as well on the marketplace side. And we realized how fast Walmart.com was growing. And there was things changing all the time, and suppliers weren't able to properly take advantage of all the programs Walmart's making available, how Walmart's evolving so quickly. So, that's what our agency's founded on, and our approach is being an extension of brands teams and suppliers teams to really help them navigate and, keep up to date with all the changes that are happening on Walmart.com, but even more importantly, really grow with it and take advantage of all the opportunities there are on that. So we really partner with our companies, get a deep understanding of what they're trying to accomplish on the platform, and, provide a wide range of services, whether that's through catalog optimization, different Walmart initiatives, Walmart advertising, off-platform ads, on-platform ads. So there's really a wide range of what we do, and we try to really understand each business what would really go the furthest for them and how we could really help them grow and kind of achieve their goals and their targets on the platform. And that's what we're founded on. We're approved Walmart channel partners and Walmart Connect API partners. So we're pretty integrated within the Walmart ecosystem, and it's been fun.
Well, as I think about it, as you mentioned, just a couple of things I want to go back and underline for our viewers is, number one, that you are approved partner agency at Walmart. So that's huge. No, that's a big step to getting that done. So I know you said it, but we have to really underline that, and that's really, really good. And the other thing that I think your company does really, really well, it really helps. I would say help with the brands, help launch and scale their business too, because you really focus on that. And as you mentioned, there's all sizes of businesses, shapes, forms of business on Walmart.com. And you pretty much can do that whole range, right?
Yep.
And some of the key things I know that you do is from the marketing and advertising, the optimization of products and account management and onboarding. There's so many complexities in all of that. And I will tell you, if you have merchandise on Walmart.com and you need to help improve that business, or you're looking to join Walmart.com or try to get on Walmart.com, SellCord is your company. Michael is the guy to reach out to, or his company is to reach. And Michael, you have a great company located in LA.
Yep.
And you have a lot of team members working every day for this. So talk about your team for a moment. I know
Yes.
I've heard you talk about, and you're so passionate about your team, which it sounds like you're just a great guy to work with.
Yeah, thanks. We have a great team. So we really have a wide range because of the types of different businesses that we help grow and that we manage and that we work with. We have different divisions. So enterprise division, we have an emerging brands division. We have a technology division because we create a lot of specific software and products to really support those. So we have awesome COO who just creates, leads our account management team. Based out of LA, just awesome. We just brought on a brand new CTO who's just really a really were awesome too. Like really getting into the field things and like really, helping us build the best products that we can on the platform, which is awesome. And by products, I mean like software solutions. So we have an awesome team, mainly based out of LA, and we have, people all around the world as well, which is great. So we've been growing really fast. We've been hiring probably like 10 people a month. So it's been fun.
That's great. Now you have an office here in Northwest Arkansas, right? That services Walmart clients, correct?
Correct. Yep. And that's why I love coming here also. Like, now we're actually planning on expanding that office here and our team here and, expanding that as well.
Good. Well, thank you for coming to Northwest Arkansas. Thanks for the support on Walmart, all you're doing. And I know your customers, your clients love what you're doing. And let's keep it up and let's just get you more business, okay? Let's just get it out there and get more business and get more opportunities. Walmart.com. That helps us all that shops on Walmart.com. Okay, Michael. Let's talk about the topic of the day. With you, there's always interesting conversations that you and I have off camera and on camera. And I really appreciate, as I said earlier, you coming back. It's just, you're just a great guy. You're always welcome to doing business in Bentonville. So talk about the topic of the day. Introduce that, and let's just sort of take that apart.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I think the topic that I want to discuss and what we're going to really dive into is going to be there's how do suppliers navigate the additional competition that marketplace is bringing to the table. And I think, in past conversations and past things we've done, like we've talked about a lot of the opportunity on Walmart.com. There's obviously a lot of expanded opportunity. Walmart.com is growing a lot as a platform. There's a ton of opportunity for marketplace sellers, and we talked about that opportunity as well. But now, what I really want to talk about is if you really think about 1P suppliers and suppliers that have been on Walmart.com for forever, right, and then been able to build significant businesses on Walmart.com, now there's all this increased competition of marketplace sellers listing a lot of assortment, getting really competitive on price, trying to really take a piece in the market. So as a 1P, we're going to talk more about this from a 1P supplier, and I think if you're a 3P supplier, it's also very important because you can understand what you're facing and who you're competing with. But for 1P suppliers, how do you address that competition and how do you make sure you still succeed? And I think that could cover how to run your 1P more efficiently and your advertising efforts more efficiently. It also could be how do you expand some of your catalog to 3P so you can leverage some of the programs that are available in 3P. So there's a lot that could be done there, and obviously every scenario is different. But there's a lot of fundamentals and a lot of things that apply across really the platform.
Yeah, okay. Let's just take that 1P supplier for a moment and let's drill down deeply for a minute. Okay, because of the increased competition, and I think, and again, I'm glad you bring that up. That's a real world. It's really happening. It's really growing. So, if there is a 1P supplier that's leaning in right now, saying, "Okay, Michael, talk more about that. Give me some things that I could do." Reaching out to you, what would you do with them in your company? But walk them through some specifics around that, please.
For sure. So one of the big things is if you think about Walmart.com and just how the search experience is, right? So let's say you search for a desk on Walmart.com. You'll see a bunch of pages of desks. It used to be that when you search for desks, there was the items that are in store and then the items that are part of the 1P owned program and DSV program. So the items that you would see were limited to the 1P program. So there was going to be not as much of a wide breadth of assortment because it's going to be only items that Walmart buys or Walmart buyers interact with. Now, because the marketplace opened up, if I'm a furniture seller that has 30,000 different desks on Amazon, I could just list it on Walmart. And now all of a sudden, those products that all those 1P suppliers have are kind of getting all just mixed throughout all this jungle of all these other items. And now a lot of times it's harder to find those items, harder to search for those items. And then I think one of the biggest things is something important to realize is the sellers that are coming on the platform and marketplace sellers as a whole, they're very tactical. And what that means is like, in order to succeed on Amazon, you really have to know how to make your items show above all other items. To be successful on Walmart.com until a few years ago was really about having the right relationships with the right buyers, giving the right EDL, everyday low prices, like all that. That's what it was about. Amazon's not driven by that. So now when you add in a marketplace element into what Walmart.com is, now all of a sudden you're competing with people who are going to outrank you and think that way. Then if you don't make, and I'm talking from the perspective of a 1P supplier, aren't making those shifts, then you're at a big disadvantage because your items just get lost. On the flip side, you as a 1P supplier have a lot of advantages the marketplace sellers don't. And a lot of times that's the infrastructure you've built, the relationships you've built within Walmart, the costing and the pricing of doing business with, and what you're able to offer. Because if you're part of a 1P program, sometimes you're able to get more aggressive on price than marketplace sellers. But you need to couple that together with tactics and strategies to make sure your searchability is high. Because you could have everyday low prices, you could have amazing promotions, but if your item's not showing, it's not going to do that much. And that's kind of the biggest thing is like I've been in different meetings with suppliers yesterday. And like that was the biggest thing. It's like if they're running promotions, but the items aren't being found, it doesn't drive extra business. So I think it's a lot about understanding that like that's the competition and that's what's coming into the mix and how do you properly navigate that.
Right. So, this is all great information. So from a standpoint of strategy and tactics, how does SellCord help that 1P supplier?
For sure. So what we like doing is, and like if we kind of try to simplify our approach, the way we approach it is Walmart gives us data of these are the search terms on Walmart, ranked from best to worst, right? And how much searches they have. So now let's say we take an example of a desk again, right? Let's say desk is the 500th largest keyword on Walmart, right? Then we know that Walmart will tell us that. Now Walmart will also tell us which 3 items are taking the largest conversion share for that keyword. So now what do we know? Now we know that for this desk, the 3 items are items, and we try to characterize them. They're desks that are this color at this price point, and by this brand, whatever. Now we know the characteristics of what makes the items that are converting best for those keywords. If we have an item and a desk that fits those characteristics pretty well, then we know that there's a lot of opportunity if we rank for those items. Right. So now we know we're going to put the focus on ranking the items where it matters, because there's so many strategies you can use to rank your items, but if you're going to rank items that'll just drop off after you rank them, it's not going to help. And what will cause them to drop off is you could spend a ton of advertising on a listing, get it to sell really well, it'll show on the top of page 1, but because once you slow down that advertising, the conversion rate isn't that high, meaning that when people search for desks, they don't click on your product as much because they lean more to other desks, whether that's because of price, colors, pictures, whatever that is, then you're going to slowly drop off and rank. So what we like to do is very much focus on which items are going to maintain rank once we rank them. And then we could properly invest the right advertising dollars in the right way to get those items ranked. And, you could run advertising for really strong performance and to try to have a good return on ad spend, which is what your ROAS, which is what they call it. Or you could really run your advertising with the goal of, I want to build the rank for this item. If I build a rank for this item, it'll pay off a lot of ways in organic ways. So there's a lot of approaches to how to properly structure a campaign so that it yields those type of results. So without getting too much into technicalities, that's a lot about how we try to approach. And I think it's crucial because if you think about, and then once you're in those positions and your items are ranked really high, that's when it makes sense to leverage promotions and things like that. Walmart does really well with promotions. The promotions drive a lot of business on Walmart, but you need to make sure you have that visibility and the searchability for it to have an impact.
Okay, that's great advice. I mean, that as you were laying that out, item by item or action item by action item by action, that's really the solution from that 1P supplier. And again, as you said, you can walk them through all of those strategies and those tactics that help them get that item, up to be visible for the consumer.
Exactly. Yep.
Great job. Okay. All right. Now let's take a more complex supplier. So walk us through that, because now you've got sort of just a small amount or one item. Now let's talk about the multiple, more complex supplier. Walk us through that.
So with a complex supplier, I think what's really important is you have to understand what the landscape is and then how their items match up into the landscape. So like a complex supplier, what I would say is items in multiple categories, a lot of items, and items part of every one of Walmart's programs. So whether You have some items that are in store with pickup and delivery options. You have some items that are part of, just .com shipping from the FCs. And then you have some items that are part of the DSV program, dropship vendor program. And then potentially you also have 3P items, or they planning on maybe expanding to 3P, right? And just simply, those programs, there's a lot of vendors that are involved with a lot of those, because programs that, you might have an item that Walmart is a great item, great price point, Walmart's taking it in store, but then they want the expanded assortment, whether that's other colors, they still want it on .com.
Right.
They don't want to bring it in store, so it'll be .com maybe through their FCs, where they buy it, they ship it from their fulfillment centers, and then they might you might have another 1,000 items. They can't bring those in store, but they want those part of their on their site. So but they don't want to own the inventory of that, so it's part of their dropship vendor program. So a lot of vendors have a lot of these different arrangements, and I think as the marketplace and not even just Walmart.com and the platform is evolving, there's different places for each of these. So owned it. When you have pickup and delivery items, those perform really well, right? And if you want to make sure you're maintaining the position on those items, and those items will usually rank really high anyway. But the thing is, no matter how high it ranks, advertising still is what shows first. Advertising spots. So I have brands that we work with that are legacy brands, and they're always we have the best this and that, right? We have the best tables. Why should we spend money on advertising? We're ranked at the top. When you search tables, though, the first row, the second row, and before you scroll is all advertising spots, because the first row is a headline search ad, then it's sponsored products. You don't even see their products until that. So with those pickup and delivery items, they're key items to your brand, and you need to increase sales on those items. It's very important to run advertising to those, but run it efficiently. Obviously, there's unlimited money you could spend with advertising, so you want to make sure you're making your dollars go the furthest. So you want to just make sure you're optimizing those correctly. So that's kind of one approach to take by those pickup and delivery items. For DSV items, you have such a wide assortment of items. A lot of times, it's a lot about, if you try to do well for every one of those items and try to rank every one of those items, a lot of times you get too caught in items that don't have as much potential. And why? Just because a year ago you used to do well, now there's all this added competition that you're going to have to spend money and spend resources to get your items to be searchable. And what I mean by searchable is actually show on the first page, and and for people to be able to find them. Now, you want to spend those items that if they're on the first page, they're going to do well, make an impact. It's kind of like what we talked about before, that if they're on the first page, people would buy them because your prices are good enough, your style is good enough, it matches what people are looking for and where their search demand is. And you really want to pull data from Walmart to understand what that is, and not base it off of these products we like let's try to push it. Really understanding who you're competing with, what your brands you're competing with, because what you'll see in marketplace a lot of times is there's a lot of new players that come to this space, right? And they just want to start moving volume, right? They're not interested in profit right now. They're not focused on profit right now. So if you try to fight against those suppliers, then, and it's really usually marketplace sellers, then what ends up happening is you just sink all your budget into items that it didn't make sense. So it's a lot about finding the right opportunities of where to put the focus. And then I think what really suppliers have to think about more is there's a lot of programs that 3P has, and this is the most exciting, I think, that 3P has that 1P doesn't have. And if you, as a 1P supplier, figure out which items would benefit a lot from those programs and move those items into 3P, now you're able to tap into the upper hand that some of these suppliers have, which is, number one, WFS, Walmart Fulfillment Services, performs a lot better than DSV shipped items that, you're having 3+ day shipping, when WFS, it has the fast shipping badge and all that kind of stuff. So Walmart has a lot of promotion, marketplace team has a lot more promotional space on key events nowadays, a lot of times, where all these deal shelves, they're able to push you into those deal shelves. So if you could be the largest 1P supplier, but if your merchant doesn't have more room given from the site team to put your items on some of these deal shelves, then you're not getting it. So now when you're in marketplace, it's a different team you're working with, you could potentially get those spots as well. There's so many added things the marketplace, there's initiatives and programs the marketplace team has separate. So by, figuring out which items, you could really tap into all of that.
Right. Well, obviously, your company, of course, I knew this, is an expert at both of those areas, both dealing with the small space, if you will, and then the large, more complex space. Yeah. And I will tell you, if I was a supplier today, I would need help and guidance and wisdom to navigate either space I need to be in, and when to move from one space to another space. And you and your company can get that done.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. This is great. So, all right, I think you've done a great job of laying out both of those spaces and how they work and then how to navigate that. And again, your company can help do that. Now, let's step back for a moment. You've done a great job talking about Walmart. Now, if I'm a supplier out there and say, okay, I really want to be on Walmart, but also I am thinking about Amazon. Okay, what is the big difference in the marketplace here than between Walmart and Amazon? How would you, both are very good sites, if you will, and some have advantages and disadvantages, but sort of explain that to us.
Yeah, so I think there's a few ways to think about it. I think number one of the biggest differences with Amazon and Walmart is you're going to see Walmart's like a merchant-driven business. Mm-hmm. And even though Marketplace is adding more complexity into that, it's still a merchant-based business. So if you think about each category, each shelf, there's merchants at Walmart that are involved with what the assortment looks like, what they show, what the items are, what the price points are, that type of area. Amazon's a much more algorithm-based thing. So it's ton more sellers. So when you think about sellers, there's like around 150,000 Walmart marketplace sellers. I'm not sure how many 1P suppliers there are. So there's that mix, right? It's tens of thousands, probably 1P suppliers. There's 150,000 marketplace sellers. Then you have on Amazon, you have 10 million sellers. Mm-hmm. So the range of the type of seller, the amount of sellers is so vast. And then when you think about like brands and items do well, Walmart versus Amazon, Walmart's lower volume than Amazon, right? So Walmart's close to like Walmart.com is close to 90 billion in sales. Amazon's over 500. So when you think about that, it's still significant. It's almost 20%. Mm-hmm. But what is that, what does that look like and where is that volume driven from? If you have very niche products, very specific niche products, premium price points and all that, like you could do volume on Amazon. Doesn't matter if you're high priced and it's very specific type of gadget for a specific type of thing, mm-hmm. like you could do volume on Amazon. If you have a general product, let's say you got a microphone, mm-hmm. that will do a ton of volume on Walmart. And if you have a good pricing, you could do really, really well on Walmart. To try to do really, really well on Amazon with a generic product mm-hmm. Is going to be extremely, extremely, extremely difficult. So I think that's kind of one way to really think about how Walmart.com compares to Amazon, where it's like Amazon has a lot more competition, but because it's so large from a .com perspective, you're able to be successful with like finding specific cracks, so to say, that you could fit in the market. On Walmart, as long as you really understand how the platform works, you could really be successful in most categories. Just for it to be significant enough volume, you're gonna want to make sure you're in categories where, there's high demand and high enough volume. So, I think that's kind of one really kind of important thing to kind of understand that. And I think biggest thing is like Walmart's a partner, like they support their partners in like a very meaningful way. Mm-hmm. And I think as you start working with Walmart, you see that versus Amazon. Now, I started off selling on Amazon, so my background's from there. There's a ton of opportunity there, and you can't deny how much volume that could be done there. Mm-hmm. It's just, I think when you think about a growing platform and being first mover advantages and all that, like there's a lot you could benefit from being on Walmart and the growth that is happening there and tagging along for that growth, so to say.
Perfect. Okay, great. I knew you started off in Walmart. We had Amazon, yeah. We had that discussion back a few sessions ago, and it was so interesting how you got started off. I think were you like 15 or 16 years old or something like that, right?
Exactly. Yep.
I love that. I love
really
the story. Yeah, if you should just go back and check some of our podcasts out in the back. And when Michael talked about when he first got started, it's such a great story of being an entrepreneur and then not stopping, not giving up till you got it done. And now you own a company and do great things. Okay, now another question. Yeah, I have for you. All right, so you've talked about sort of the smaller supplier, the large supplier. If you had to give the top 3 things for suppliers, either one, or you can break it down in either category, whatever you want to do. tell us, okay, you've heard Michael talk and share his wisdom and knowledge and his company that's here to support you in multiple ways for success. So, but just sort of give its top line here for a moment.
Yeah, I think a few tips. I think suppliers have to take a shift in focus and focus less on what their overall share of the voice and share of the category is, and really hone in and focus on the shelves. What are the shelves you're competing with? Who's competing there? And then what's the volume like of those shelves? How does your product fit into those? And like, how do you best get yourself ranked better within those? You have to take a deeper, break it down. And like the overall share of your voice and share of the category that you have is good. But you're not going to learn as much insight as if you really dive into each of those individual shelves and really kind of figure that out. And I think that's kind of one important shift that I've seen the suppliers are becoming successful kind of do. And then I think number 2 is really understand the Walmart programs and understand which products make sense for what program. And some of them might make sense within 1P, some of them might make sense within 3P. And then within 3P, there are some programs that might make sense for some items. WFS, Walmart Fulfillment Services, might make sense for some items. There should be, so I think it's really getting an understanding of what Walmart has to offer to support sellers and then how your products kind of fit into that. So I think taking that deeper approach in those programs can make all the difference if you leverage the right ones, and we've seen crazy growth. So I think that's another thing. And I think, one of the other things is just understand that like the marketplace is growing so quickly that it's gonna be, there's a ton of added competition. And in some ways, by being tactical and being strategic, you'll win over the competition. But in some ways, if you have a larger assortment, you want to back down from certain items and certain things, because somebody could come into a category and just disrupt it with crazy pricing, spend a ton. And because they're not there right away to make money, they're just there to move volume and build some positioning. Like if you go down that path, and this is what happens with marketplace, because there's so many items, like you could end up fighting and using your ammo in the wrong arena. So I would say that's kind of, and they're all kind of tied together, but yes, more from the lens of what's the shift in Walmart.com and what's the tips to kind of address it.
Those are great tips. Okay, I have a couple more questions. Okay.
Go for it.
One is, I would like for you to consider, and maybe you reach out to us here at Doing Business in Bentonville or to Michael, and I would love the next time you come on, let's bring a couple of your customers, clients on.
Let's do it.
That can talk about their experience, okay? So if you're a client of Michael and you want to come on, then we can remote you in here if you're not local. So reach out to him, or you can reach out to us. You can email us. But I would love for us to have a couple of your clients on. That has, it began maybe in the garage or in their, in their bedroom, whatever. And now they're having the product on Walmart.com and having success. And they talk about their struggles and opportunities, okay?
Awesome.
All right, so let's do that next time, because
I'm done.
We'll get you, because I have a thing with Michael. So if you come to Northwest Arkansas, you gotta text me so I can get you on. So he knows that. So we've got this relationship going, because I really enjoy you, Michael. Secondly, Michael, is there anything that, because your visit here at Walmart this week, is there anything that's changed, anything new, anything you've learned that the supplier needs to be aware of?
That's a good question. This is a little more tactical, but like within Walmart Connect, there's so many new placements and opportunities that they've been launching. So like, in order to run, like, for example, display campaigns on Walmart, you used to have really large budgets and part of managed programs. Now they have it at no minimum budget requirements. Mm-hmm. They had added capabilities, that stuff. So like that program in Walmart Connect and that whole segment is just growing so quickly. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a lot of changes that I'm trying to keep our pulse on there. So that's, I would say, the biggest changes I've been seeing happening.
Good. Well, we have been talking with Walmart Connect, Walmart Lemonade, and we're talking to people there on both of those divisions, and we're going to have those on at some point. And
awesome.
And so
I'm going to listen to those.
Yeah. So you want to come? You want to come and get that, right? Well, we'll definitely let you know when that happens. But we are working with that. Our goal here at Doing Business in Bentonville is really focused around retail and omnichannel, and it's to really demystify this whole omnichannel experience. And Michael, You help us do that. You help us get through all of that and help us demystify omnichannel, because it's so massive, it's so huge, and your help today is always so wonderful. You bring it down to the specificities and you talk us through it in general language on how to do it. So, Michael, I can't thank you enough for coming, and it's always a pleasure to have you. Any closing comments, any closing thoughts you have for our audience today?
Yeah, I would say that, it could be sometimes overwhelming with the amount of information and tactics and strategies. And I think as you start making steps to think a certain way about the platform and how to address the platform, you take small steps to implement these things, and they start compounding on each other. And, you really don't have to implement everything or know everything kind of right away. As it regards to that, it's constantly evolving. So, nobody is always on the pulse with everything. So it's a lot about just, taking the steps forward, because a lot of suppliers just don't take any steps to kind of evolve, and you see their business just shrink.
Good. All right. So SellCord.com, right? SellCord.com. That's where you need to go. And then Michael's website is I've been on your website, Michael. It's pretty much just walks you through the steps, right?
Exactly.
Just follow those steps and just tell them you know Michael. There you go. That again.
Put it in the form. Put it in Michael. Michael DBB.
Yeah. So you heard on doing business in Bentonville.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, again, as I mentioned, it's such a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much for your time today. And we appreciate you coming. And as I mentioned, we'll get you back, and we'll have some clients with us.
Awesome.
That'll be fun. Okay, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, my name is Andy Wilson. This is Doing Business in Bentonville. You can check us out at dbbnwa.com. You can that's our website. Check us out. There's tons of information and resources, and all of our podcasts is on our website. Also, you can listen to us, watch us on your favorite streaming channel. That's YouTube, that's Apple, it's Spotify, it's LinkedIn. So check us out, share us. We appreciate that. And again, thank you most of all for joining us today, everyone. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.